Welcome back, deep divers. We're diving deep today. You know how we do it, taking a mountain of research and squeezing out the good stuff, the gems that make you smarter, faster.
Precisely. We're all about those aha moments, those little nuggets of knowledge that you didn't know you needed.
Exactly. And today, we're cracking open a fruit that's been captivating people for centuries, the pomegranate.
Ah, yes. A fruit steeped in history, mythology, even medicine. And visually so striking, isn't it? That deep red, almost jewel-like exterior.
It is. You crack it open, and it's like this explosion of juicy, gem-like seeds inside. Hundreds of them. And get this, they're actually called arils. Scientists, they love their fancy terms.
They do. And it's fitting, don't you think? The word pomegranate itself is pretty descriptive. Comes from the Latin pomum granatum, which literally means apple of many seeds.
Apple of many seeds. I like that. So for our deep dive today, we're going to dissect this apple, explore what makes it so special, and unpack all the science behind those health benefits we always hear about.
Absolutely. Based on the research you've provided, of course.
Of course. So let's start with the basics. You pick up a pomegranate, what's going on in there?
Well, picture this. You slice open this round fruit, and you'll find that it's divided. Not quite like an orange, though. Instead of segments of pulp, each section is crammed with those beautiful red seeds, or, as we now know them, arils. Each aril is basically a tiny seed with this fleshy, brightly colored coating. That's where all that juicy goodness comes from.
Okay, so the aril is the edible part, the seed and the juicy part. But the skin, no good.
Not really. The rind is tough and leathery and bitter. Not something you'd want to snack on, trust me.
Got it. Stick to the arils. So we've got these hundreds of arils, and one thing you always hear about pomegranates is antioxidants. Like they're bursting with them.
Syrup, absolutely true. Studies have shown that pomegranates pack a more powerful antioxidant punch than even green tea or red wine, sometimes up to 3 times more.
Wow, that's serious. So why should we care about antioxidants? What are they doing for us?
Think of antioxidants as your body's defense system. They protect your cells from damage. We're constantly bombarded with harmful chemicals and toxins, and these antioxidants neutralize them. Plus, they help combat inflammation.
Right. Inflammation's a big deal these days, linked to so many health problems. So antioxidants are like little warriors fighting inflammation on a cellular level.
Precisely. And when it comes to specific health benefits, let's talk about the heart. Pomegranates have a strong reputation for supporting cardiovascular health.
Yeah, I've heard that. They're good for your heart, but how? What's the science behind that?
Well, it starts with these amazing compounds called polyphenols. Pomegranates are rich in them, particularly a type called punicolagens. They're potent antioxidants, unique to pomegranates.
Punicolagens, that's a mouthful.
It is, but here's what they do. They may help keep your arteries flexible and prevent them from thickening and hardening. That's a major factor in heart disease. They also help manage cholesterol levels and reduce plaque buildup, the stuff that can clog those arteries.
So these punicolagens are like little plumbers, keeping the pipes clean and flowing.
That's a great analogy. And it's not just the punicolagens. Pomegranate juice also has a good amount of anthocyanins and antioxidants. These give the juice that rich color, and they also support heart health.
So it's like a team effort, all these different compounds working together to keep our hearts happy.
Exactly. And we're not just talking theory here. There's actual research on people. One study showed that folks who are overweight or had obesity, after taking pomegranate extract for just a month, they saw positive changes, like weight loss, lower blood sugar and insulin levels, improved cholesterol, and reduced inflammation.
Wow, that's hitting a lot of important areas, not just heart health. It's like a whole body tune-up.
It is. And there's more. Studies looking at pomegranate seed extracts suggest it can lower blood pressure.
That's huge. High blood pressure is such a common problem.
It is. And scientists think this effect happens in a few ways. By reducing damage from free radicals, by calming inflammation, and by improving the function of the hypothalamus, which helps regulate blood pressure.
The hypothalamus. The brain is involved too.
It is. It's all connected. And then there's the cholesterol story, the good and bad cholesterol. You've probably heard about that.
Oh yeah, LDL and HDL. Always get those mixed up.
Well, studies suggest that drinking pomegranate juice can help improve your cholesterol profile. It can lower LDL, the bad cholesterol that clogs arteries, and it might even raise HDL, the good cholesterol that helps clear them out.
So it's like a double win. Okay, let's move on to another big topic, cancer. I know the research you gave me mentioned some preliminary findings about pomegranates and cancer.
Yes, it's early stage research, but there's a lot of interest in how those antioxidants and flavonoids in pomegranates might protect against cancer.
Okay, so how would that work?
Well, the idea is that by neutralizing those damaging free radicals, they might actually prevent the early stages of cancer development. Some initial studies have pointed to potential benefits for various types of cancer: prostate, breast, lung, and colon.
That sounds really promising. So is this based on studies on humans?
Well, not entirely. Some of the initial work has been done in labs and with animals. For instance, animal studies have shown that pomegranates might slow down the growth of tumors in several organs: lungs, skin, colon, prostate.
So it works in animals. That's a good sign, right?
It is encouraging, but as the research emphasizes, we need more research to see if these effects hold true in humans.
Right. More research is always needed, but definitely an exciting area to watch. Okay, shifting gears now. Let's talk about blood sugar and diabetes. Any connection there?
There is some fascinating research is happening in this area. For example, one study found that drinking just a small glass of pomegranate juice, about 7 ounces, daily for 6 weeks, helped lower blood pressure in people with type 2 diabetes.
Interesting. So it might help with blood pressure control in people with diabetes.
Exactly. Another study looked at pomegranate seed oil and found that it could reduce fasting blood sugar levels in people with type 2 diabetes. And what's really interesting is that it didn't seem to affect their insulin levels.
So it impacted blood sugar without messing with insulin.
Yes, and there are also early indications that pomegranate juice might improve insulin sensitivity in type 2 diabetes, which is important for managing the condition. However, just like with the cancer research, more studies are needed to confirm these findings.
Okay, so potential benefits for blood sugar and blood pressure, but more research is definitely needed. What about our kidneys? I saw something about kidney stones.
Right. This is an area where the research is pretty intriguing. There was a study involving people who are prone to kidney stones, and it suggested that pomegranate extract might help prevent them.
Wow, really? How would that work?
Well, scientists believe that the polyphenols in pomegranates might lower the concentration of certain substances in your blood, like oxalates, calcium, and phosphates. These are the common components of kidney stones.
So it's like they're breaking down the building blocks of those stones. Pretty cool. All right, let's move down the digestive tract. What about our guts? Any benefits there?
Oh, absolutely. Research suggests that pomegranates could have prebiotic effects.
Prebiotics, remind me what those are.
They're basically food for the good bacteria that live in your gut, the beneficial microbes. By feeding these good bacteria, pomegranates may help create a healthier balance in your digestive system.
Right, we hear so much about gut health these days, how important it is for everything.
Exactly. A healthy gut microbiome is linked to all sorts of good things. It might help prevent chronic diseases like inflammatory bowel disease, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, even colorectal cancer.
So it's not just about what the pomegranate itself does, it's also about how it helps our gut bacteria thrive.
Exactly. And when you eat the whole pomegranate seeds, you're also getting a good dose of fiber. That's essential for keeping things moving, for regularity and overall gut health.
Okay, so lots of good stuff for our digestive system. Now, what about our brains? Any connection between pomegranates and keeping our minds sharp?
There is some promising research in this area, although it's still early. Remember those elagitannins we talked about earlier?
The ones that are good for the heart.
Yes. Those same compounds have the ability to reduce inflammation throughout the body, and that includes the brain. Early studies suggest that these elagitannins might protect against brain diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. They do this by fighting free radicals and reducing inflammation in brain tissue.
So it's possible that eating pomegranates could help keep our brains healthy as we age.
That's what the research is hinting at, yes. More research is needed, but it's an exciting possibility.
It is. All right, let's move on to our joints. Any benefits there?
There are a few studies looking at that. One review of several studies suggested that the antioxidants in pomegranates might help ease the symptoms of rheumatoid arthritis and potentially prevent further damage.
Rheumatoid arthritis, that's a serious condition.
It is. And there's another study that indicates pomegranates might even help prevent osteoarthritis, which is the wear and tear kind of arthritis that's really common.
So from our brains to our guts to our joints, pomegranates seem to be showing some potential across a lot of different health areas.
They do. It's pretty remarkable.
Okay, stepping back now from specific conditions, what about the basic nutritional profile of a pomegranate? What are we getting in terms of vitamins and minerals?
Well, fresh pomegranates are quite nutritious. They're relatively low in calories and fat, but they're a good source of fiber, vitamins, and minerals. For instance, just half a pomegranate has about 72 calories, a little over 2 grams of protein, a little over a gram of fat, about 26 grams of carbohydrates, a whopping 5.5 grams of fiber, and about 20 grams of sugar.
Wow, that's a lot of fiber.
It is. And what about pomegranate juice?
Yeah, how does the juice compare nutritionally?
Well, you still get a lot of those beneficial compounds, but the numbers change a bit. An 8-ounce serving of pomegranate juice has more calories, about 135, a little less protein, only about a gram, virtually no fat, more carbs, 34 grams, significantly less fiber, just 1 gram, and more sugar, 30 grams. Oh, and it has some sodium, too.
So more calories and sugar in the juice.
Right, and less fiber. You're missing out on that valuable fiber. It does still have a good amount of potassium, though. So while it's beneficial, it's not quite the same as eating the whole fruit.
Got it. So if you want the full fiber benefit, go for the arils. Now, for someone listening who's thinking, okay, I want to try this pomegranate thing, how do you even eat one? They can be a bit intimidating.
It can look a little daunting, but it's actually quite easy once you get the hang of it. Start by slicing off the top and bottom, the crown and the blossom end. Then you'll see the natural segments divided by those white membranes. Gently score the skin along those membranes all the way around. Don't cut too deep into the seeds. Now here's the trick. Submerge the scored pomegranate in a bowl of water, and then gently break it apart with your fingers. The arils will sink to the bottom, and the skin and membranes will float to the top. Easy separation.
The water trick, that's genius. No more pomegranate juice explosions all over the kitchen.
Exactly. So you've got your bowl of arils, now what?
Yeah, what are some tasty ways to enjoy them?
Oh, there are so many options. You can just pop them in your mouth as a snack. Delicious and refreshing. They add a wonderful burst of flavor and texture to yogurt, granola, even oatmeal.
Okay, that's simple enough. What about something more substantial?
Well, they're fantastic in salads. Green salads, grain salads, anything goes. Some people even sprinkle them on pizza or pasta. And you can use pomegranate juice as the base for homemade salad dressings.
Oh, that's a good idea. I've also heard of pomegranate molasses. What exactly is that?
It's basically concentrated pomegranate juice. They simmer it down, sometimes with a bit of lemon juice and sugar, until it becomes this thick, syrupy glaze.
Sounds intense.
It is, and it's a staple ingredient in Middle Eastern and Persian cooking. It's great for marinades, stews, roasted vegetables, all sorts of things.
Okay, so we've got the arils, the juice, the molasses. What about just plain pomegranate juice? We talked about the nutritional differences, but what are some good ways to drink it?
Well, as we said, it still has a lot of those antioxidants, but it's lower in fiber and higher in sugar. It's a good source of potassium, which is important for nerve and muscle function, but it's important to choose wisely. Look for 100% pomegranate juice and watch out for added sugars.
So read those labels carefully.
Absolutely. Or you can make your own. It's actually not that difficult. You just extract the seeds and press them using a juice press, a food mill, or even a blender. Then you strain the mixture. You can even freeze it or can it to preserve it.
Homemade pomegranate juice. That sounds impressive.
It's easier than you think. And for something warm and cozy, there's always pomegranate tea.
Oh, right. Pomegranate tea? I've seen that in stores. What's in it?
Well, there are a few ways to make it. You can steep crushed fresh seeds, or use dried pomegranate flowers, or even dissolve pomegranate juice concentrate in hot water. It's often blended with other teas like green or black tea, and you can add things like mint or ginger for extra flavor.
Sounds delicious. And healthy, too, I imagine.
It is. It provides antioxidants, vitamins, and minerals, and as long as you skip the sugar, it's very low in calories.
All right, so we've covered a lot of healthy ways to enjoy pomegranates, but what about something a little more, celebratory?
You're talking cocktails.
Maybe.
Well, pomegranate juice makes a fantastic addition to cocktails. It adds that tartness, that beautiful color. There's the pomegranate martini, which usually combines pomegranate juice with vodka or gin, orange liqueur, and maybe a splash of something bubbly.
Ooh, that sounds fancy.
It is. And then there's the pomegranate margarita, tequila, lime juice, agave, and of course, pomegranate juice. And you can easily make mocktails too. Just skip the alcohol.
So many options.
Yeah.
Pomegranates are versatile.
They are. But as with anything, there are a few things to keep in mind.
Okay, let's talk about the potential downsides.
Yeah.
Any risks or things people should be aware of?
Well, for most people, pomegranates are perfectly safe. But allergic reactions, though rare, can happen. So if you have allergies to other fruits or plants, be on the lookout for any signs of a reaction. Itching, hives, trouble breathing. Also, pomegranates have natural sugars, so if you have diabetes, you need to factor that into your diet. And if you have kidney disease, be mindful of the potassium content. Pomegranates are fairly high in potassium.
All good points. And what about interactions with medications? Anything to watch out for there?
That's an important one. Pomegranates can interact with certain medications, so it's always best to talk to your doctor if you have any concerns, especially if you're taking ACE inhibitors or other blood pressure medications, certain cholesterol-lowering drugs, or blood thinners like warfarin.
Okay, so always check with your doctor if you're unsure. Got it. Now, before we wrap up, can we talk a little bit about growing pomegranates?
Sure. If you're thinking about growing your own, you need to know a few things. Pomegranates are pretty particular about their environment. They thrive in warm, dry climates with lots of sunshine.
So, not a good choice for those of us in colder regions.
Probably not. They need at least 6 hours of direct sun each day, and they need a long stretch of hot weather for the fruit to ripen properly. They also prefer well-drained soil and are fairly drought-tolerant once they're established. They grow as these bushy shrubs that can be pruned into small trees.
Interesting. So, if you wanted to grow them, how would you start?
It's usually easiest to start with established saplings or hardwood cuttings. The fruit ripens in late summer and fall. You harvest them when they're fully colored and have a little bit of give when you squeeze them.
Okay, so warm, sunny, well-drained. Got it. Now, as we wrap up our deep dive, what are the key takeaways you'd want our listeners to remember about pomegranates?
Well, I'd say the main thing is that pomegranates are nutritional powerhouses, packed with unique antioxidants that offer a whole range of potential health benefits, especially for your heart, your kidneys, and your gut. Early research also suggests they might have protective effects for your brain and may even play a role in reducing the risk of certain diseases.
So they're not just delicious, they're good for you too.
Exactly. Whether you enjoy them as fresh arrows, juice, molasses, any way you like, incorporating pomegranates into your diet can be a delicious and potentially very healthy choice.
All right, and we also tackled some of those common questions, like how many pomegranates should we be eating?
Right. Because of the natural sugar content, moderation is key. About half a pomegranate is considered a serving, and sticking to one serving a day is a good guideline for most people.
Okay, so not a whole pomegranate every day.
Probably not. And the big question, are pomegranates a superfood?
Ah, yes, the superfood debate. What's the verdict?
Well, I'd say yes, they qualify. They're packed with nutrients, they're low in calories, and there's growing evidence of their health benefits. I think that puts them firmly in the superfood category.
So there you have it, folks. Pomegranates. Ancient fruit. Modern superfood. What an amazing journey we've taken today, exploring the world of pomegranates. From their ancient history to the latest science, it's clear these little apples of many seeds are much more than just a pretty face.
Indeed, their culinary versatility and their potential for improving our health make them a truly remarkable fruit.
So, as our final thought for you, our listener, we'd like to leave you with this. Given all the potential benefits and all the delicious ways to enjoy them, how might you creatively incorporate pomegranates into your daily routine? Maybe it's adding them to your yogurt, or making a pomegranate vinaigrette, or maybe you'll try your hand at homemade pomegranate molasses. The possibilities are endless.
And if you're feeling inspired, we encourage you to explore the research we discussed today or delve deeper into any specific area that caught your interest. There's always more to learn. And who knows, maybe you'll discover even more amazing things about this incredible fruit.